Hare Krishna, welcome everyone to our Caitanya Caritamrta review class. We'll begin with our prayers. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादां सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचना गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी निति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणी जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishnas, welcome everyone. We are continuing our discussion from Chaitanya Charitamrta, Madhya Lila. We are on chapter 19. Lord Chaitanya instructs Srila Rupa Goswami. In this chapter, we have heard many wonderful things. The chapter begins with the glorification of Srila Rupa Goswami. Kaviraj Goswami is writing such wonderful description of Srila Rupa Goswami's glories. How Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu empowered Rupa Goswami. वृंदावनीयां रसकेली वार्तां कालेन लुप्तं निजशक्तिमुक्ता संचार्य रूपे व्यतनोत् पुनः सा प्रभुर्विधौ प्राकिवलोकसृष्टिम्. Just like Lord Krishna empowered Brahmaji, impregnated the knowledge in the heart of Brahma in the beginning of the creation. Similarly, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu impregnated Rupa Goswami with the science of devotional service. He manifested the pastimes of Vrindavan in the heart of Srila Rupa Goswami. We heard so far Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, how he showed mercy. Rupa and Sanatan, they ultimately left the service of Nawab Hussain Shah. Rupa Goswami left early. He reached Prayag. He met with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu along with his brother Anupam, surrendered their lives again. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was so very pleased. He made them meet Vallabh Bhatta. There was wonderful discussion between Vallabh Bhatt and Rupa Goswami. Vallabh Bhatt could understand the glories of Rupa Goswami, how humble he was. Then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu met Raghupati Upadhyay, who was from Navadvip, from Bengal, Trihuta district. He had a wonderful conversation with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he explained. There was a conversation. Mahaprabhu asked, who is the foremost human being? Foremost being. So he said, Shyam Sundar. Shyam eva pararupam puri madhupuri vara vayak kaishorakam dhyayam adyo eva parorasaha. The best place to reside is Mathura or Vrindavan. The best age of Krishna is Kaishora. And the best rasa is Madhurya. Ultimately, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he started instructing Rupa Goswami on the science of devotional service. And he described everything. Krishna Tattva, Bhakti Tattva, Rasa Tattva, Pranta, Sab Shikhaila Prabhu, Bhagavad Siddhanta. Based on Bhagavad philosophy, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed Rupa Goswami in Krishna Tattva, about the truth of Krishna, about the truth of devotional service, about the truth of the mellows of devotion. And Kaviraj Goswami describes how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he entered the heart of Rupa Goswami and empowered him. Another beautiful verse he quotes from Kavi Karnapur's book, कालेन वृंदावन केली वार्ता लुप्ते तितां ख्यापयितुं विशिष्य कृपामृतेनाभिषिषे च देवं तत्रैव रूपं च सनातनं च. Mahaprabhu, he sprinkled, abhishishej means he sprinkled his mercy on Rupa and Sanatan and empowered them to excavate the holy places. The glorious qualities of Rupa Sanatan are described. Priya Swarupe, Daita Swarupe, Prema Swarupe, Sahajabhirupe, Nijanurupe, Prabhureka Rupe, Tatanarupe, Swavilasa Rupe. How Srila Rupa Goswami, he was very dear friend of Swarup Damodar, Priya Swarupe, and very dear to Rupa Goswami, and very dear to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Daita Swarupe. Prema Swarupe, he was exact replica and embodiment of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's love. Sahajabhirupe, and he was naturally very beautiful. Therefore, Nijanurupe, Prabhureka Rupe, therefore Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he carefully explained the principles to Srila Rupa Goswami and he followed it very carefully. The glorious qualities of Rupa Sanatana Goswami we have heard. Then Mahaprabhu starts describing the glories of bhakti and rarity of Krishna Bhakta. We heard all this. And then last class we discussed the growth of Bhakti Lata creeper. How the Bhakti Lata beej grows into Bhakti Lata creeper and is nourished by Shravana and Kirtan and then reaches Goloka. And in Goloka, take shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna. But in this Bhakti Lata growth, there are some impediments, and a devotee should be very careful to avoid all these impediments. What are these impediments? There are two impediments, the offenses and the weeds. If we allow Vaishnava Aparadh, which is a great offense, which is like a great impediment, that is Hati Mata. Mata Hati means a mad elephant offense. Our entire garden of devotional service will be destroyed in no time. And then there are some weeds which grow. What are these weeds? Nishiddhachar, Putinati, Jiva Himsan, Puja Lav, Pratishtha Adi, Yat Upashakhagan. Duplicity, forbidden behaviors, and violence against living entities, the desire for name, fame, prestige, all these are impediments. One should be very careful. We have to cut down all these creepers, all these weeds. Then only our Bhakti Lata creeper will grow without any obstacles. We'll continue from verse number 152 to 162. Kaviraj Goswami, now Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is describing the fruit of this Bhakti Lata creeper, Krishna Prema Phal. So when this creeper reaches Goloka and takes shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna, then slowly this creeper starts having fruits of love of God. These fruits, they become ripe, they fall down, and the gardener takes advantage of it and reaches and enjoys it, and then ultimately the creeper is there at the lotus feet of Krishna, a devotee, by eating this Krishna Prema Phal. What is the result of developing this Krishna Prema? Devotee develops a desire to serve Krishna. It is not just imagination or emotion. I feel, I love. Love means to serve. That's why Srila Prabhupada, he translated bhakti as devotional service. When there is love, then naturally there is service. Without service, there is no love. There's a beautiful verse spoken by Vritrasur. Ajata paksha iva mataram khaga stanyam yatha vatsatara shudharta priyam priyeva vishitam vishanna manoravindaksha didrikshate tvam. In this, Vritrasur, he is comparing his devotion with three things. First, he compares himself to be like the baby bird. Ajata Paksha, just like a baby bird is dependent on his mother, who will come and feed the small child. I am dependent on you, O my Lord, for everything. Then he feels, but there is no service. Stanyam yatha shudharta. Then he thinks of another comparison of a calf, how the calf is depending on mother. Little more freedom, but still depends on mother. Still there is no service. Then he comes up with the third example. Priyam priyeva vishutam vishanna. Just like a wife, she serves her husband and depends on her husband because she loves her husband. Similarly, I want to serve you, O my Lord. Love means service. Without love, without service, love has no meaning. So this devotee, now he develops a desire to serve the Lord. Because now he has developed the prem phal, the desire to serve increases. Mahaprabhu tells, the devotee serves the lotus feet of the Lord, which is compared to a desire fulfilling tree. And this devotee, he tastes that fruit of love and becomes eternally happy. He gets this pancham purushartha, that is parama purushartha. Eita parama phal parama purushartha, yara age trinatulya chari purushartha. Eita parama phal. This param purushartha, this love of God, that is the highest perfection. And in front of this, dharma, artha, kama, moksha, they are insignificant. Nothing can compare to the love of Krishna, love of the Supreme Personality, the devotional service, the bliss. Sandrananda Visheshatma. The bliss of bhakti, it cannot be compared with anything of this world, not even Brahmananda. Even if you multiply Brahmananda millions of times, it cannot even compare with a drop of the bliss of Bhaktiananda. But our problem is, for us, we have no understanding of what is Brahmananda. Then what to speak of Bhaktiananda? Our consciousness is rooted in Jadananda, the happiness of this world, the pleasures of this world, which are so very insignificant. But our unfortunate condition is we have no access to what is Bhaktiananda. There's a difference between a diabetes patient and a lust patient. A diabetes patient, he knows when he was healthy and now he has become diseased, so he aspires to become healthy again. But a lust patient, since many, many millions of lives, we have not experienced what is pure love of Krishna. We have forgotten it. So therefore, it is so very difficult to even understand this concept of Krishna Prem. But our hope is we have seen devotees who are experiencing it. We have not experienced it, but we have seen devotees who are experiencing it. Srila Prabhupada and all the acharyas, they are experiencing it. And seeing them have faith in their words. Etam saasthaya paratmanishta adhyasitam purvatamai maharshibhi aham tarishyami durantaparam. I will also cross this ocean of material existence, this intense darkness, by following the footsteps of previous acharyas. So that is the role of a sadhaka bhakta. Even if there is no taste, still one does it. That is sadhana bhakti. कृति साध्या भवेत् साध्य भावा सा साधना विदा नित्य सिद्धस्य भावस्य प्राकट्यम हृदि साध्यता. Having faith in the words of Guru, having faith in the words of our Acharya Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that if I follow this and I use this, if I use my senses to serve Krishna, I may not have this taste, but in due course of time, nitya siddhasya bhavasya prakatyam, this bhava, this ecstatic devotion will develop in the heart. So that is what is waiting for us. Yara aage trinatulya chari purushartha. In front of this parama purushartha of love of Krishna, dharma artha kama moksha is insignificant. Dharma projita kaitavatra paramo nirmatsranam satam. That's where Bhagavatam begins. Rejecting all the cheating type of religion. Because anything less than pure devotion is cheating. Because the soul is situated in the constitutional position only when one starts serving Krishna. That is called as the Swarupa. The Swarupa is Jivera Swarupa Hoy Krishnera Nityadas. Dhruv Maharaj, he is telling, oh my Lord, the bliss which I am experiencing in your devotion cannot be compared with even Brahmananda. What to speak of Swargananda and Jadananda is not even a question also. Ya nirvritistanobritam tava pada padma dhyanad bhavachan katha shravanena vasyat sa brahmani swamahimanyaphi natamabhut kim tvantakasi lulita patatam vimanat. Oh my Lord, the bliss I am experiencing in two things. Bhavat Jana Katha Shravan and Tava Pad Padma Dhyan. It cannot be compared with Brahmani, Brahmananda, and then Swargananda. Kintu Antakasi Lulita Padatam Vimanato. That is not even a question. And then Mahaprabhu, he compares this Bhaktiananda with the pleasure of impersonalists in the next verse. The pleasures which a impersonalist feels, it is insignificant, it is condemned. He says, oh my Lord, he quotes a very beautiful verse in that it is described the great material perfection like the siddhis, the brahminical perfections like satya, shama, titiksha and all that, and the yogic siddhis and the bliss of Brahman, Brahmanando api, they seem very attractive and wonderful as long as one has not experienced the bliss of the devotional service. As long as one has not experienced the pure love of Krishna, things of this world, they look attractive. The siddhis, they look attractive. The brahminical perfections, they look attractive. The trance of the yogis, they appear attractive. This pure love, this is the complete medicine. Siddha Aushadhi, it is a perfect medicinal herb. Because this herb can control Lord Krishna. And this, it does not manifest, all these things, the attraction for siddhis, attraction from Brahminical perfections, and the yogic mystic powers. They don't attract the heart which is full of love for Krishna. Srila Prabhupada writes, all these material perfections are certainly very attractive, but their brilliance exists only as long as there is no devotion. As soon as one takes to devotional service, one loses attraction for any of this, all of this. That's the power of devotional service of the Lord. So the more we hear, the more we intensely practice it, pray for it, slowly we will come to this level of nishtha, having faith in the process. And then gradually these things will appear in the mind of a devotee. Prabhupada writes, devotional service is so wonderful, it can control the Lord. Pure devotees control the Lord. Yashoda Mai is controlling the Lord. She shows a stick, and Krishna is trembling in fear. Rudantam mohuranetram yugmam rijantam karambhoja yugamena satanka netram. He is trembling. Atanka netram, his eyes are full of fear. Only Lord, only a devotee can do this with the Lord. And Lord enjoys it. That same Lord who controls fear personified. Madhvayat bhativatoyam suryas tapati madhvayat varshati indro dhati agni mrityusharati madhvayat. Out of fear of Krishna, sun rises. Out of fear of Krishna, wind is blowing. Out of fear of Krishna, the death comes. And that same Lord is fearful of a small stick of Mother Yashoda. That is how devotees, they control the Lord. Aham bhakta paradhino. I am controlled by my devotees. I am not independent. Then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu starts describing Shuddha Bhakti. What is pure devotional service? Shuddha Bhakti hoite hoye prema utpanna ataiva Shuddha Bhakti re kahiye lakshana. Shuddha Bhakti, when one is situated in pure devotional service, one develops love of God. Prema utpanna. And therefore, now I will describe the symptoms of pure devotional service, Shuddha Bhakti. Only by devotion one can know the Lord. Bhaktya mama vijanati. One cannot know the Lord by one's karma or jnana or yoga. Only devotion can conquer the Lord. Only by devotion the Lord reveals himself. अथापि ते देवपदाम्बुजद्वय प्रसादलेशानुगृहीत एव हि जानाति तत्त्वं भगवन्महिम्नो न चान्य एकोऽपि चिरं विचिन्वन्. And when Lord is pleased, when Lord bestows his mercy, then a devotee can know the Lord. Otherwise, one can never know the Lord. Of course, nobody can know the Lord in full. But by the practice of bhakti, one can start knowing the Lord. Mahaprabhu, he describes the definition of pure devotional service, which Srila Rupa Goswami mentions in Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. Anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karmadyanavritam anukulyena krishnano shilanam bhaktiruttama. What is the Bhakti Uttama? What is first class devotional service? Anya Abhilashita Shunyam, which is devoid of all material desires. Jnana Karma Adi Anavritam, uncovered by the influence of fruitive activities and monistic philosophy. Gyan means this is not the Bhakti Gyan. There are three types of Gyan. Ishwar Gyan, Atma Gyan, and Keval Gyan. Atma Gyan, knowledge of the soul. Ishwar Gyan, knowledge of Supreme Lord. And Keval Gyan means knowledge of the impersonal aspect of the Lord. So bhakti should not be covered by the impersonal Gyan. The Ishwar Gyan has to be there. The Ishwar Gyan automatically comes by the practice of Bhakti. Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita Janayati Ashu Vairagyam Gyanam. But there is no, there is no place for this impersonal Gyan. That is called as Jnana and karma adi anavritam, uncovered. It is not shunya. It is not jnana karma adi shunya. It is anavritam. It is not covered by the impersonal jnana and fruitive activity. Karma is there. Jnana is there. But that karma is not personally motivated. We also do karma. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, these are all activities. But these activities, they bring us closer to Krishna. These are done to please Krishna. Devotee, Anadi means a devotee does not take shelter of any of the Vedic rituals, the Karma Kandi rituals like Shraddha and all those other things, which includes Devta worship. Anukulyena. Anukulyena means it should be favorable for Krishna. Prabhupada talks about Anya Abhilashita means only thinking of Krishna, serving Krishna. No desires except serving Krishna. Of course, this includes the desire for self-preservation and the well-being of the near ones and the family. That's why Rupa Goswami didn't use the word Anya Abhilasha Shunya. He used the word Anya Abhilashita Shunyam. What is the difference between Anya Abhilasha and Anya Abhilashita? Anya Abhilashita means a devotee can desire for the protection of himself and for the protection of the near ones. That does not make him or her a lesser devotee. Just like Draupadi, just like Uttara, when they were faced with danger, they cried out to Krishna. That's included in pure devotion. Anya abhilashita shunya. Apart from that, no other material desires. It should be done favorably. Anukulyena. Kamsa, he was also remembering Krishna. He was remembering so much that he was seeing Krishna everywhere. Asina sambisham stishtam bunjanam paryatan mahim chintayano rishikesham apashyat tanmayam jagat. While sitting, while sleeping, while eating, while seeing himself in mirror, while moving around, wherever he would go, he would see Krishna. But he was not thinking of Krishna in a favorable way. He was thinking of Krishna as enemy. So therefore, he is not a devotee. It is not Anukul Bhakti. Krishna, Anukulyena Krishna. It is done for Krishna. Anushilanam. Anu means continuous. What is continuous? Bhakti should be performed continuously. Manmanabhav madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mami vashi satyam te pratijane priyosi me. Always remember me. What is always for a sadhak bhakta? He may say, well, we are not practicing pure devotion because I am not remembering Krishna always. Jiva Goswami says, you know what is always and continuous for a sadhaka? At least once a day. Whatever our fixed number of rounds, that is Uttam Bhakti. Krishna Anushilanam Bhaktiruttamam. Prabhupada writes, these are the desires of the Supreme Lord, and one who fulfills the desires. Krishna is telling, become my devotee, worship me, surrender to me, and offer everything to me. These are the desires of Krishna. And one who fulfills the desires of Krishna is naturally a pure devotee. Krishna wants everyone to surrender. And Krishna wants that everyone should preach this message. Prabhupada would always use the word gospel. Prabhupada writes here also. Devotional service means preaching this gospel all over the world. Nacha tasman manusheshu kaschin me priyakrittamaha bhavita nacha me tasmat anyah priyataro bhuvi. There is nobody who is more dear to me than the person who is preaching this knowledge to the whole world, to everyone. That's how this Bhagavad Gita is spoken in such a way that the society can become perfectly organized in all aspects, either politically or socially or economically, philosophically, religiously, in all aspects. Bhagavad Gita has the power to harmonize the entire world. Prabhupada writes, therefore, human society can be reformed by this Krishna consciousness movement. And Prabhupada writes, the criteria is that the devotee must know what Krishna wants him to do. How will I understand what Krishna wants me to do? Just approach as representative of Krishna, a bona fide representative, the spiritual master. Ask them. Adav Guru Padashraya. That is the beginning of spiritual life. When we take shelter of the spiritual master. Prabhupada writes, the first business of a devotee is to satisfy spiritual master. Yasya prasadat bhagavat prasadam. Yasya prasadan na gati kutopi. अन्य वांछा अन्य पूजा छाड़ी ज्ञान कर्म अनुकूल्य सर्वेंद्रिय कृष्ण अनुशीलन. अन्य वांछा अन्य पूजा छाड़ी, अन्य अभिलाषिता शून्य, अन्य वांछा, then अन्य पूजा, no other worship, no other karma, no worship of the devatas, no following astrology and worshipping these devatas, Shiva, Chandra, Indra, Surya, Shani, Rahu, no worship of devatas. अन्य सेवा, अन्य वांछा, अन्य पूजा छाड़ी ज्ञान कर्म. Anukulye, one should engage all the senses. Sarvendriya, all the senses should be engaged in serving Krishna in a favorable way. These activities are called Shuddha Bhakti. They are called as pure devotion. And if one renders such pure devotion, naturally one will develop love of God. Mahaprabhu tells another verse, very famous verse. सर्वोपाधि विनिर्मुक्तं तत्परत्वेन निर्मलं ऋषिकेन ऋषिकेश सेवनं भक्तिरुच्यते. सर्व उपाधि विनिर्मुक्तं, becoming free from all the designations. I am this, I am Indian, I am American, I am male, female, I am doctor, engineer, whatever. Sarva upadhi vinurmuktam. I am only servant of Krishna. Tatparatvena. And when one is purified, nirmalam, then rishikena rishikesha sevanam. With those purified senses, engage in service of Rishikesha. Use your senses in service of the Supreme Lord Rishikesh. That is called as Bhakti. Mahaprabhu, he quotes from Srimad Bhagavatam, third canto. Kapila Dev is describing the characteristics of Shuddha Bhakti to his mother Devahuti. Very beautiful verses are described there in the 29th chapter of third canto. 11, 12, 13, 14. These 4 verses, they are very powerful. Madguna Shruti Matrena Mai Sarva Guhashaye Manogatiravichinna Yatha Gangam Bhasamambudau. Madguna Shruti Matrena, simply by hearing about my pastimes. Mai Sarva Guhashaye, I am residing in everyone's heart. When devotees, they hear about me. Manogatiya Vichinna, when their mind only goes towards me. Just like the Ganga flow towards the ocean. Yatha Ganga Bhaso Ambudo. It's like Kunti Maharani, she's saying, Toime Ananya Vishaya Matir Madhupate Sakrit Ratim Udvahata Daddha Gangai Vokhamudanvati. Just like the Ganga flows towards the ocean, O my Lord, let my consciousness be only flowing towards you. Nothing can stop Ganga from flowing to ocean. Similarly, nothing can stop a devotee from thinking of Krishna, from rendering devotional service. Avichinna. Bhakti is apratihata. This word will come in the next line, next verse. Avyavahita. Nobody can stop one from practicing bhakti in whatever situation one may be. One can continue practicing bhakti. One time, in the beginning days of ISKCON, devotees were doing Sankirtan, and the mayor of one state, he was not so favorable. He arrested the devotees, put them in jail. And devotees, they were thinking what to do now. It was Sunday. They thought Sunday feast should be there. So how to do Sunday feast in jail? So one devotee started doing kirtan, another devotee, then he gave a class, and then they made a feast in the mind and they ate it in the mind. And throughout the time they were doing kirtan. The jailer of that prison house, he was also interested. He became interested because he was getting bored of the same routine things. He found, oh wow, these people are doing something interesting. They're singing, they're chanting. He also joined. He also started chanting Hare Krishna. And the superintendent came in the jail, and this jailer, he is telling, Hari Bol, sir. So, so this person, he thought, oh my God, these Hare Krishnas are more dangerous inside. Mano gatir avichinna. Nobody can stop one from practicing devotional service. Lakshanam bhakti yogasya nirgunasya hyudaritam ahetuki avyavahita ya bhakti purushottame. What is the lakshan of pure devotional service? Lakshanam bhakti yoga. It is nirguna. It is not contaminated by the three modes. When we are rendering devotional service, the bhakti is beyond the modes. The Shuddha bhakti is beyond the modes. We may be in the modes, but the devotional service, pure devotional service is nirguna. It is done to please the Lord. It is not affected by anything of this world. And the two qualities of this bhakti is ahetuki and avyavahita. Ahetuki means there are no motives behind rendering devotional service. There is no cause. Why I am rendering bhakti? I don't want anything in return. Ahetuki. I just want to serve the Lord. That's it. I don't want anything in return. And apratihata, avyavahita means unobstructed. Nobody can stop one from practicing bhakti. The time, place, circumstance, the caste, the position in the society, nobody, nothing. What was the occupation of a hunter? There was a Dharma Vyad. He was a great devotee of the Lord. What was the age of Dhruva and Prahlad? What was the beauty of Kubja? What was the wealth of Sudama? What was the caste of Vidura? What was the strength of Ugrasena? They all praised the Lord because of their devotion. व्याधस्याचरणं ध्रुवस्य च वयो विद्या गजेन्द्रस्य का कुब्जाया किमुनामरूपोऽधिकं किं तत्सुदां नो धनम् वंशस्को विदुरस्य यादवपतेरुग्रस्य किं पौरुषं भक्त्या तुष्यति केवलं न च गुणैः भक्तिप्रियो माधव. Only bhakti pleases the Lord, nothing else. Nothing else can please the Lord. Only devotional service. That's what Prahlad also tells to his friends. Only nalam dvijatvam devatvam rishitvam vasuratmaja prinanaya mukundasya navrittam na bahugyata nadanam na tapo na ichya na shausham navratanicha. So then what pleases the Lord? Priyate amalaya bhaktya. If you are a great devata, can't please the Lord by being a devata. If you are a great Brahman, you can't please the Lord by being Brahman. Alam Dijatvam Deva. Rishi, you can't please the Lord by being a Rishi. Navrittam, you can't please the Lord by giving lots of donation. You can't please the Lord by knowing all the 18,000 verses of Bhagavatam by heart. You can't please the Lord by doing charity, by doing tapasya, by worshipping the Lord, then what pleases the Lord? Priyate amalaya bhaktya. Only devotion pleases the Lord. That's it. Nothing else. So bhakti is avyavahita. Everybody can render devotional service. What was the knowledge of Gajendra? He was an animal. Kapil Dev says, Mother, my devotees, they don't want anything in return. They don't want liberation also if there is no devotion there. Salokya, Sarishti, Samipya, Sarupya, Ekatvam Apyuta, Diyamanam Nagrahnanti Vinamat Sevanatna. If Seva is not there, I don't want liberation. I don't want Salokya, the chance to stay in the same planet as the Lord. I don't want to get the same features as the Lord, same opulences as the Lord. I don't want to stay near the Lord if there is no Seva. That is bhakti, which is the ultimate goal of life. Saiva bhakti yogakhya atyantika udarita yenati vrachya trigunam madbhavayopapadyate. Bhakti atyantika udarita. This is the ultimate goal of life. Yena ati vrachya trigunam. By rendering devotional service, one can transcend the three modes. And Krishna says madbhavayopapadyate. They can attain the spiritual platform. In this path, there are some obstacles which we should avoid. There are two great obstacles in this path of devotion, bhukti and mukti vancha. Bhukti mukti adi vancha yadi mane hoy, sadhana korile prema utpanna na hoy. If somebody is rendering pure devotional service, sadhana bhakti, and he desires bhukti and mukti, bhukti means the desire to enjoy things of the world. Mukti means desire for moksha, impersonal liberation. If somebody has these desires, bhukti, mukti, vancha, yadi, mane hoye, one cannot develop love for Krishna. That becomes a motivated devotional service. Kapila Dev describes bhakti in three modes. Sattva-guni bhakti, rajoguni bhakti, tamoguni bhakti. Tamoguni bhakti means a devotee renders bhakti with a primary motive and intention of harming somebody. He's envious of somebody, he wants to put him down, he wants to destroy this person, so he's rendering bhakti. Tamoguni bhakti. If somebody is doing bhakti because he wants the things of the world, I want name, fame, wealth, prestige, that is Rajoguni bhakti. Dhruva is the example of that. If somebody is rendering devotional service to get liberation, mukti, that is also mixed devotion. Prema na utpanna hoye. Prabhupada writes, one must not desire material benefits. Bhukti mukti spriha yavat pishachi ridi vartate tavad bhakti sukhasyatra katham abhyudayo bhavet. Bhukti and mukti, they are like the witches. They steal away our desire for pure devotional service. If we allow these witches to stay in our heart, how can pure love of God arise in the heart? Katham abhyudayo bhave bhakti sukha. You will not experience the sukha of bhakti. If we are after the sukha of this world, or if we are after sukha of impersonal liberation, bhakti sukha, it will not arise in the heart. So one should be very careful. Then Mahaprabhu describes, Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport, he says, one must not desire material benefit while rendering devotional service. Otherwise, even if one renders all the 64 limbs of devotional service, they will not develop love of Krishna. If we have these bhukti, mukti, vancha, love of God will not arise, however we may try. Mahaprabhu starts describing the gradual development of prema. Sadhana bhakti hoite hoye ratira uday, ratigad hoile tar prema nama hoye. By rendering sadhana bhakti hoite hoye ratira uday, rati arises in the heart. One becomes gradually attached to the Supreme Personality. And when this rati becomes concentrated, when this attachment becomes more and more concentrated, it becomes prema. Prabhupada quotes the definitions of sadhana bhakti and rati, everything from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. What is sadhana bhakti? Kriti sadhya bhavet sadhya bhava sa sadhana vidha nitya siddhasya bhavasya prakatyam ridi sadhyata. When there is no love for Krishna, still one renders devotional service using the senses because one has heard about it, one has read about it. Gradually, the love of God arises in the heart. Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sadhya Kabunoe Shravanadi Shuddha Chitte Karayodaya. That Nitya Siddha Bhakti, Krishna Bhakti, which is there in the heart, arises by this practice of sadhana bhakti. It is there dormant in the heart, but because of our offenses, this does not manifest. If we are rendering offensive bhakti, if we are chanting and offending the holy names of the Lord, offending Vaishnavas, this prema will not arise in the heart. Bahujanma kore yadi shravana kirtan tabuta na paye Krishna pade prem dhan. So one has to chant offenselessly, then only it will develop. Then only it will become rati. What is rati? He says, when the tenderness of heart is manifested, that tenderness is rati. And at that stage, one is not interested in anything material of this world. That is rati. One becomes completely free from the bondage and one becomes attached to service of Krishna. That is rati. And this transcendental rati can be awakened only on the spiritual platform. And this rati only develops into prema. What is prema? When this tenderness of the heart becomes very condensed, samyak masrinata swanto mamatva atishayankitaha, mamata. A sadhaka, he feels, I am Krishna's servant. I am Krishna's. But a premi bhakta, what he thinks? Krishna is mine. That's the difference. I am Krishna's and Krishna is mine. So this mamata develops at the stage of prema. Mamatva atishaya ankita. And that is very condensed stage of bhava. Bhava saiva sandratma. When bhava becomes more and more condensed, then it becomes prema. What happens after prema? There are 5 stages after prema. Prema vriddhi kramen nama snehaman pranay raga anuraga bhava mahabhava hoy. After prema, there are 6 more stages. Sneha, man, pranay, bhava, raga, anuraga, bhava and mahabhava. Sorry, 7. So Prabhupada writes all these things. What is sneha? He quotes from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. He says, sneha is that aspect of prem in which the melting of the heart for the lover is concentrated. And when the heart is completely melted in love of Krishna. And at this stage, the lover cannot remain in separation from Krishna even for a moment. That is called as sneha. What is man? Prabhupada has described man in another chapter of Madhya Lila, chapter 2, verse number 66. Prabhupada quotes that in purport. What is man? Man means when a lover feels sweetness by his exchanges with the beloved, but he wants to hide those feelings. And sometimes by crooked means, that is man. That's the man Srimati Radharani shows. And the pranay, what is pranay? Pranay means when there is possibility of receiving an honor, but one does not want that honor. That is called as pranaya. And Prabhupada quotes again Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu and describes what is raga. He says that stage at which the affection for the beloved converts unhappiness into happiness. The lover feels so much love and affection that even though he's unhappy or she's unhappy, that unhappiness becomes happiness because of the affection of the beloved. And when devotee has such attachment for Krishna, he can do anything to satisfy Krishna. Unhappiness becomes happiness. He is ready to give up his life to serve Krishna. That is called as raga, attachment. What is called anuraga? He says anurag means the devotee, the loving propensity is of the vishaya towards the ashraya. That means loving propensity of the ashraya. That means the devotee towards the vishaya, the worshipable object, the Lord, is so ecstatic that even after a devotee is in the presence of the Lord, he feels, I'm not with the Lord. Radharani experienced, manifested this one time. She is with Krishna, and cowherd boys are also there, and Krishna is there, and a bumblebee comes, and Madhumangal drives that bumblebee away, and he comes back and tells Radharani, Madhu is gone. So one of the names of Krishna is Madhu. So Krishna is right there beside her, and she starts thinking, oh, Krishna is gone, and she faints. That is called as anuraga. And this anurag, when it reaches the highest limit, then it becomes bhava. So much so that one can perceive in the body, the perceivable symptoms manifest in the body. That is called as bhava. And when that bhava is intensified, it becomes mahabhava. And then Mahaprabhu gives an example how to understand these different phases of prema, 7 stages after prema. He gives the example of sugar cane undergoing various levels of transformation, different forms of sugar. Yaiche बीज इक्षुरस गुड़ सार शर्करा सीता मिचरी उत्तम मिचरियार. There is a seed of sugar cane. Then the sugar cane grows. Bij, then ikshu, one becomes sugar cane. And then the sugar cane is processed and becomes good molasses. And from that molasses, khandasar, one gets sugar. Khandasar, solid molasses. And from that solid molasses, first good, then solid molasses, then one gets sharkara, sugar. And then one gets sita, that is candy. Then michari, then rock candy, then uttam michari. Finally, the lozenges, the highest form. So he says that's how the taste of every, every thing which comes is different. Sugarcane is different. Good is different. The molasses, solid molasses, sugar candy, rock candy, and lozenges, they are all different. All are sugar only, but they are all different in taste. So that is how we can understand the different levels of prema. Then he talks about sthai bhava. He says, all these different stages, raga, anuraga, after prema, sneha, mana, pranaya, raga, anuraga, bhava, mahabhava. They are all put together called as sthai bhava, continuous love. And in addition to this sthai bhava, there is some anubhava and there is vibhava. What is this anubhav and vibhava? And there is something called as vyabhichari bhava, sanchari bhava. There are 9 processes of devotional service. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. When these sthai bhava and all these stages of prema, sthai bhava, they are mixed with these limbs of bhakti. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu. When a devotee renders these limbs at sthai bhava, they manifest different vibhava, anubhava, sanchari bhava, vyabhichari bhava, and all these they mix together to produce the highest standards of ecstatic love and transcendental bliss. So all these sthai bhav and vyabhichari bhav, they create transcendental bliss in a devotee. All these tastes, for us all, this is all theory only. Where are we? Anartha nivritti. After that, nishtha, ruchi, asakti, bhav, prem, and then after prem ki charcha ho rahi hai. This is Kupamanduka Nyaya going on. However, we hear about all these things, they are just theory for us. But at least we should know what's in store for Jiva. Jiva has the potential to rise to the highest levels. Of course, Mahabhava only Radharani has. Nobody can experience this Mahabhava. Mahabhava Swarupa Shri Radha Thakurani Sarvaguna Khani Krishna Kanta Shiromani. So Mahaprabhu is still explaining all these things. These combinations are like the combinations of when yogurt, sugar candy, ghee, clarified butter, pepper, camphor, they are all mixed together. It creates a wonderful nectar. So when all these sthai bhav, vyabhichari, sanchari, anubhav, vibhav, they come together, our devotee experiences transcendental bliss, which cannot be described in words. Okay, so then after this, Mahaprabhu starts describing the primary and secondary rasas. That will continue next time. We'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Caitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai, Shri Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami ki jai.